Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Say what? 5 key communication skills that will sell more cars. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealeron. And for anyone who isn't familiar with Dealeron, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency. And we're best known for our search engine optimization, our best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that Dealeron is the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So, does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Jennifer Suzuki as our presenter today. Jennifer Suzuki is the founder and president of eDealer Solutions, Inc., an award-winning training company focused on improving salespeople's phone skills, emails, and operating processes. Her 17 years of experience encompasses a wide gamut of valuable auto industry know-how, such as selling vehicles, training and installing DMS systems, retailing internet leads, and managing an internet sales division comprised of 28 dealerships. She has a tremendous reputation for delivering significant success to dealerships looking for effective processes, profitable ideas, and a sound direction for the 21st century auto dealer. Jennifer's passion and expertise are evident in her career, as she's well known for conducting sales training seminars for numerous manufacturers, dealerships, 20 groups, and state associations. She's an active writer and blogger, and she can be reached at jennifer@edealersolution.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use our question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we'll respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. I also want to let you know that Dealeron will be at the upcoming Digital Dealer 16 in Atlantic City on May 6th through the 8th. So stop by our booth number 623. You're going to want it to because you're going to be able to take the opportunity to check out our new responsive website platform, Chameleon. You'll see what the future of dealer websites will look like. You'll learn why Google recommends that your dealership's website be built on a responsive platform. And you can check out the sexiest darn dealer websites you have ever seen. So if you're going to be a digital dealer next month, make sure you stop by booth 623 and check out the future of dealership websites. And while you're there, you got to check out the speaking sessions from five of them of my amazing coworkers at Dealeron. You definitely don't want to miss them. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, well, guess what? Dealeron is here to help with that too. We have an exclusive discount code that'll still honor the early bird ticket price. Believe me, you want to save money on this, so why not just use the discount code on the screen when you register? And guess what? Woohoo! Our good friends at eDealer Solutions, Inc., they're giving away some fantastic prizes today on the webinar. First, everyone on this broadcast is already a winner. eDealer Solutions is going to give everyone on this broadcast exclusive access to an online training module that can help you improve your communications with prospects on the phone. It's one of 49 new courses that eDealer Solutions offers in their new online series, Selling Cars Through Conversations, and will easily help implement positive changes in your sales processes. So if you'd like to experience one complimentary training course from eDealer Solutions, then simply email Jennifer at edealersolution.com with your full name and your email address to sign up. Also, one of you lucky webinar attendees is going to be winning a great prize for your dealership. You'll win a private 30-minute consultation with Jennifer Suzuki herself. You choose how you'd like to spend your time with her. You could spend it talking about best practices, learning how to hire the best salespeople for today's dealership, or a training session covering any topic like incoming sales calls, outbound calls to internet leads, handling objections, selling yourself, how to get more responses back from emails and voicemails, or even how to set firm appointments. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though. All you have to do is stay tuned for the details after Jennifer's presentation, and you could be scoring this amazing prize today. And at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey, so fill it out. We're always looking for great feedback from our audience. Today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. let's learn 5 key communication skills that's going to sell more cars. Jennifer Suzuki, it's so nice to have you back on the show again. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me again.
Oh, believe me, the pleasure is all mine. You always do such a wonderful job, and it's so great that you're doing such a timely and important topic like this, and it's no wonder it's coming from such a great speaker as yourself. Audience, if you've never heard Jennifer Suzuki speak live, or you've never been to another webinar that she's done with me, I'm just going to tell you, she is a fabulous communicator. So it's no surprise to me that you're doing such a wonderful topic as in 5 great communication skills that you need to sell more cars. So thank you again for being here. What are the kinds of things that we're going to be learning about today?
Okay, so we're focusing on communication skills, and I gotta be frank with you, this is probably single-handedly the most important thing you do for your career this year. I mean, here is the thing, is like, if we're going to sell cars and we're going to sell more cars, we have to really look at the spectrum that we are in. And when I'm in dealerships weekly. I see it happening. It's been happening. It's here. You know, the reality of the situation is that most customers, well, their prospects to begin with, they are going to contact you on an email or they're going to call into the dealership, and that's how we sell cars. We have to get people off of these sources and into the store. So focusing on what you're saying to people and how you're saying it, you know, that's key to longevity in this business. You've got to be great on the phone. You can't just be good. And frankly, like, a lot of people aren't naturally just good on the phone. And today we are going to talk about some of the key factors that'll help you convert these folks into showroom appointments so that you can sell them a car. But the situation that we're in is that you have to take this really seriously. I mean, it's not just about like, oh, the phone's ringing, let me go and pick it up and say, hey, how can I help you today? It's just not a strategic way to answer the phone. We have to really think about our actions and what produces what comes about from those actions. And so today, we're going to focus on a few key points here. One, I want to make sure that when you leave this workshop today, that you can go back and you can apply some of the techniques that we talk about here into your conversations. I mean, I want you to be able to apply them to your conversations and really focus on these techniques and hone in on them and practice them. Write them down today as I'm going through them. Listen to the recording after the session again. You have to decide how serious you want to be about being great this year, not just good, and being able to get to that next level for yourself. Focusing on the phone, this is one of the important skill sets to spend time doing. And I want you to be able to apply these techniques every time. But again, it comes with practice, but knowing what to practice, that's what we're going to cover here today. And then what's important is that you're always incorporating questions and statements, you know, that you can put into the conversation to build this environment where people see you as a trustworthy person, or that they at least feel confident in your abilities to assist them in a non-threatening manner. The fact of the matter is that a lot of phone calls and emails, people want information, they want it right now, and if you are selling based on a price, that's a hard way to sell cars. People are going to buy from people that they like. It's an old adage. It's true. But you have a short amount of time to make that impression, to get people to feel the right way, the more positive way about who you are, so they don't feel threatened, so that their guard doesn't go up, and it allows you to have a more fruitful conversation. That's what today is about. And I want to make sure that you know how to present, you know, what you actually do there for a living, like the customer service in you. People don't know who you are when you're talking to you, or they're an incoming sales call. They think you're a salesperson, or they think that you're just trying to get them in the door, tell them what they want to hear. You know, it has to be a little bit more well thought through. When you take phone calls or when you call internet prospects back. We want to make sure that people see you for the respectable professional that you are. And frankly, it's not going to happen if you don't really put thought and put strategy behind your verbiage. And that's really what today is all about. Eliane, before I get into this, do you have anything else you want to put out there?
Absolutely. Audience, I did just send out a chat to all of you. If you'd like a copy of today's presentation in the slide deck form, please email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com and I'll get it to you later today. Also, don't hesitate with your questions. Of course, we were going to save most of those questions till the very, very end of Jennifer's presentation, but if you have a question for Jennifer, please send them on in. And hey, if you're going to be multitasking and doing some Twitter, we would love it. Please use the hashtag DealerOnWebby. You can also tag me in it at Eliana Raggio. Please, Jennifer, take it away. I know we have a lot to get to today.
I know, I'm like coming out of my seat. I'm so excited. You know, it's so funny because I am constantly doing, seminars and workshops in dealerships, and I work with salespeople and managers every day. I take live calls. I'll do it in front of anyone, anywhere, anytime, and I do that confidently because I know my process, and my process works. There's less objections that happen during my conversations with prospects. When I call internet leads back, people are, they feel engaged. They talk to me for 10 plus minutes, and you're probably thinking, well, how could I have a conversation for that long? It's easy, and it's not just about rapport building. It's about having a strategy behind your words, because there's a lot of things that you want to check off on a list to ultimately be able to say, that was an awesome conversation. I did my job. I did it the best that I could do. And ultimately, you're going to set more appointments. You're going to sell more cars. That's the whole goal. Now, this year, as you place emphasis on your phone skills, realize that this is a skill set that allows for personal growth. It allows for an increase in your income potential. And it's one of the reasons why I love the car business so much, because you have the opportunity to go up, up, up as high as you want with just focusing on each aspect that can help you sell more cars. It's about being serious about your career. And in order to sell more cars, you have to be a great communicator. It's just that simple. And so today I'm going to cover these 5 techniques, 5 communication skills that you can incorporate into your processes. Now, remember, it's not just about phone calls. It's also about emails and voicemails and text messages. It's about in-person contacts. It's you communicating. You've got to know what the expectations are. From the customer's perspective, they have expectations about you. They have expectations about the dealership. And you have expectations too. I mean, the fact of the matter is that you don't want to hear objections right out of the gate. You don't want to be talking trade values and payments and rates right out of the gate. You want people to see you as a professional. They have expectations about the car business and about salespeople. And if they think that you are a car salesperson at a dealership, you know that there's going to be a certain level of expectation about what they're going to get here from you. So, that situation can be guarded oftentimes. And, people, they're weary of buying a car. And I hear it all the time from people. They'll say, once they really let their guard down with me, or they feel comfortable talking with me, oftentimes I hear people say, I really don't want to buy a car. I'm really dreading this experience. I've been putting it off, things to that effect. You have to realize that that is the world that we are living in. And there's a lot of emotions and there's a lot of feelings involved about buying a car and dealing with somebody on the phone. That's why they'll call you and they'll call someone else and even, visit multiple dealerships. The fact of the matter is that we're living in this world where people are getting a lot of information online. I mean, you know that. And they have a lot of options. They have a lot of choices when choosing who they're ultimately going to go and visit. You can make people feel different about you. You can make people feel different about what a salesperson at a dealership is. You can make people feel different about a dealership experience. And that is the goal on all of your communications, is to have people see the situation for what it really is. I mean, the fact of the matter, again, is like salespeople, we bust our butts to do things for people. We will go above and beyond to put a deal together. We will do customer service things that they don't even really see. They expect it. But, you know, when we're on a phone call, they can't see anything. They can't even see you. So your words become so valuable. Every detail counts. Every word that you say counts and how you say it. People can feel different about you and the car dealership experience if we're thinking strategically and planning in advance for that. You want to catch them off guard, right? I mean, you want to catch them off guard thinking that you are really even a customer service professional. And we'll talk about that here today. But you have to recognize that it's important to make people feel differently about what you do and what you bring to the table. You know, you're rerouting conversations and having them think in a more positive manner about you, showing them a more professional experience on the phone and not one that's so traditional, like what every other dealership is doing is going to be a winning strategy for you. You've got to create the conversation. Just keep this in mind. You have to pre-plan what you're going to say. So again, if you're just making phone call after phone call or accepting phone call after phone call without a real solid strategy, without something in front of you, you know, you're winging it. And in this world, we're full of competitors and other salespeople trying to get the same business you are, you know, you really have to do something a little bit different. And now, by recognizing that customers have expectations and that they have certain feelings about dealerships and salespeople, you've got to allude in your conversation or even confront what some of those downfalls are. So in order for you to have effective communication so we can sell more cars, it's really important that during your communications that you highlight, recognize what dealerships are being seen as. This is a very important point. I make it sound very simple because it is. It just needs to be said that you understand how dealerships have been perceived in the past. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can do that, but what you want to be able to achieve is allowing people to put it together that you're not in that ball game. You're in a different ball game. You're in something a little more elite or something a little bit more different. So it's important that during your conversations that one, you confront the situation for what it is. And maybe you're referencing like a personal experience or somebody that you know's experience, but most importantly, you're letting that prospect know that you know what it's like to deal with a dealership. You know what the stresses are. You know what the anxieties are. And it can be just 1 or 2 sentences, but you're at least confronting it. And then it's very important because when the customer knows that you understand what the environment really is, now you can take yourself out of it. And you can present yourself as somebody that's just slightly different than what they may have expected. As a matter of fact, oftentimes when I take incoming sales calls, I'll put myself mentally into a role of customer service expert instead of salesperson. I mean, let's face it, I'm not trying to sell a car on the phone right now. I'm trying to sell myself to get an appointment, to get them a show on time so then I can sell them a car. Right? So it's really important that when you approach the phone that you're not thinking as a salesperson, okay, that's really hard to do when you're a salesperson. I mean, like, that's what you do, and you are anxiously trying to sell a car. But the reality here is that when we step back and we think of ourselves and own it as a customer service representative, now you can explain your roles and functions in a way that takes the fear out of buying a car and the fear of coming to a dealership. And oftentimes you have to really strategically think about what your role actually is in the dealership, what you actually bring to the table, what is your function. So again, if you approach it from that customer service representative, you know, kind of perspective, well then people won't feel so scared. So like if, for example, when I take an incoming call, I put myself in the customer service role. Instead of saying, sales, how can I help you? Or thank you for calling ABC Motors, how may I assist you? All of those types of questions, they're very open-ended. And what happens is the customer starts telling you what car they saw, and ultimately they're asking you for price and they're asking you about availability. And right now you're in a situation where you can't sell yourself. You're selling a car. You're focusing on one car only. And you're even offering to go out to the lot and get them information. You're being a salesperson in this role. So again, if you're going to change the way people think about you, change your level of questions. I get ownership of the call right away. I give them my name. I ask them for their name. I'm giving them options to choose from and not so open-ended, right? So if I want to be in the customer service perspective here, I'll ask them customer service type questions, or even people might even think you might be a receptionist, but immediately I've got questions to lead this conversation. Okay, so I might say, thank you for calling ABC Motors. This is Jennifer, and who am I speaking with? And they give me their name, and they say, are you looking for the new car department or the pre-owned department? I have questions that are single answer questions. They're easy to use, right? And it allows me opportunity to say who I am, but they're already putting it together that I'm not necessarily a vehicle salesperson. And they say, I'm looking for a pre-owned. I say, oh, do you have a stock number? Which website did you see that vehicle on? These are easy questions. They can be yes or no, but they're not open-ended with a customer saying, hey, I want to get a price. So we're really careful about how you ultimately end up explaining your role. If you're going to tell people that you're a more customer service advocate, you've got to get to that point to be able to deliver that information. And it all starts at the beginning of your conversation. So you need to have questions, organized and put together. It's really important that you guide this conversation so that you can present who you are. And we'll talk about that in more detail here in a bit. But don't forget, you're a person too. And you bleed just like they do. And if they're pressing you for information and you don't want to provide that right out of the gate, you've got to paint yourself as a real person. Let people know what you do there. Your job is to facilitate a car buying experience. Your job is to have vehicles ready for them before they get there. Your job is to provide them time savings. Your job might be to schedule appraisers to be on site. Your job might be to schedule other people, other managers that might be able to help deliver an exceptional experience. So you have to, again, look at yourself from more of a customer service standpoint and let people know what your role and function is. It's not to get payments and pricing and availability. Your job is to provide an experience and to facilitate having things prepared in advance for customers. And let people know that you understand the importance of time savings by using your own analogies and stories where you've appreciated time savings. When I call Apple Care, I don't feel threatened by that agent. So think of it from that perspective. What is that agent trying to accomplish? An experience from me. Think of it from that perspective. You'll have a much more fruitful conversation when you're able to do this and do it early in the conversation. People are going to start to feel a little more confident in you, and their guard won't be up. So again, make sure that you have some pre-planned questions and that you really make sure that you confront the situation that it is. A car dealership is always not the most pleasant place for people to go. Let people know that you understand that, and then let people know what your role is. The next thing that you can do for really effective communication during your contacts with people is to make sure, again, that you have those questions prepared, but that you are displaying a more relaxed and friendly approach. You don't have to be Mr. Corporate or Mrs. Corporate on the phone. You can be just relaxed and have fun with this. And this is a very important aspect of this call. If you know your pre-planned questions and you know where you want to go in this conversation, sit back and relax and feel confident in what you're delivering. But you're going to have to be quick on the phone. And you have to throw in, some of your personality, and hopefully you'll be able to portray that relaxed and friendly environment. Now, your conversation, we talked about here a second ago, is about leading with questions. You want to make sure that you can lead with questions at the beginning and during your conversation and even at the end of your conversation. If you're leading with questions, you're showing leadership on the phone, but you're also allowing people to be guided. And allows you the opportunity to provide them with the information they need to put you together and say, wow, this person really is a professional. This person really has my best interest in heart. So again, let's be prepared with questions that are easy for them to answer, simple questions. Did you see this vehicle in person? Did you see it online? That's simple, but it helps you even qualify at the same time. Have you got a chance to see the person, see this vehicle, drive this vehicle? Easy questions that are fun, it allows you to relax and have fun with this. Okay, so when you prepare, you're planning for maximum income potential. And it's, again, really important that you plan, you have your questions. As a matter of fact, I suggest that you have 20 questions in front of you. Not open-ended ones, but ones that are easy to say yes to, easy to say, it's one or the other, so like either or questions are good. But when you prepare and you're not just winging it, you're going to show a much more professional call. And really, when you have something prepared and people follow your lead, people will put you together as somebody that they could come in and see and visit and want to visit with. It's just, when you sound like just everybody else out there because you're following the same training approach, people, they're onto it, they hit you with all the obstacles and all the objections right away. So again, think of this as like fun. Have fun with it, relax, and think of it as like your friends are on the other phone, on the other end of this phone call. It's important that they see your outgoing personality. Every conversation that you approach, make sure that you've got that outgoing feeling. So it's not so professional, but it's enjoyable. You've got to carve out the opportunity, okay? You've got to carve out the opportunity on the calls, on your emails, on your voicemails to tell people how different you really are and how different you really are than other dealerships. And I know that sounds super simple, but again, if you have pre-planned questions and you guide this call, you already sound more confident and you already sound different than other dealerships. Most other dealerships, they'll have a question like, how can I help you, right out of the gate, but you're going to do something different. You'll get much more feedback, you'll have a much more engaging conversation, and people will see you as somebody that they could feel confident in. I know it sounds super simple, and it is, but again, if you don't have 20 questions in front of you, you're oftentimes going to be thrown off track, and you won't know how to get back on track. And even when we're having a great conversation, or so that we think it is, we're building rapport, we're talking about the game. If it's not strategic, again, it's you're building rapport without an appointment, in sight. So a couple of things that you should think about is, again, the 20 questions, having them pre-planned. If you need help with these, you can always email me and I can help you with your questions to use. But they should be easy questions. If you're going to communicate effectively on the phone, you've got to have easy questions that's easy for them to answer and that relates to their environment. Like, for example, the environment is about buying a car. So it doesn't need to be like, something that is like, oh, what did you like about the 2014 Tahoe? That isn't the most effective question to ask, especially early on in the conversation, but you can say things like, hey, did you get a chance to see this vehicle in person? Do you know somebody that owns this vehicle? These are easy questions, but more importantly, they're focusing on this environment. You keep it super simple, like, did you get a chance to drive this model yet, or have you ever owned this brand before? These are easy questions. But when you just keep them going, it does create a relaxed environment. It makes you sound more confident in what you're doing. But again, this is so important that you are pre-planned. Okay, so some questions that you might ask are you familiar with our online buyer program? That's an easy yes-no question. Oftentimes they're going to say no, which gives you an opportunity to start talking about what you actually do there. Now they might have questioned it in the beginning when you said, were you looking for the new car department, the pre-owned? They say new car, and you say something like, well, we have 17 different models in our lineup. Which one were you doing your research on? See, these are pointed questions, and it may sound more customer service than car salesperson, which is a great position to be in. So if you ask them, are you familiar with our online buyer program? It gives you an opportunity to tell people that you're a facilitator of a great experience, and that your role and responsibility is to make sure that that's delivered to them. You might even associate yourself with a lead source that has a great reputation, because they already feel confident in a lead source, and you can associate yourself with that lead source. That just makes it even more impactful. You might even ask somebody, have you worked with anyone here before? And if they say no, it gives you an opportunity to discuss what you bring to the table. Again, this is about just being strategic in how you organize the content of your conversations or even your emails and voicemails or text messages. You want people to know who you are and what you represent and what you do. People don't know that when they just call into a dealership unless you carve out the opportunity to let them know. Let's do a poll question real quick.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. And by the way, we're already getting some wonderful comments from today's audience about the communication that you're sharing today. So thank you so much, audience. Really wonderful comments. We really appreciate them. And now we're going to launch our first poll question today, and we hope you'll get involved. It's always important for you not to just come and hear the brilliance that's coming out of our presenters' mouths, but to also get involved, get engaged, and let us know what you're thinking and what's happening at your dealership. So first question comes to you now. And the question is, what type of questions are best asked during the beginning of your phone call? We want to know what you think. Please select one of the following answers. Do you think it's better to ask an open-ended question, a yes or no question, an either-or question, or a single answer question? And once we get a majority of those votes in, we will close the poll and share the results. And I know right now probably some of you are thinking, well, more than one answer fits. Well, more than one answer may fit. We just want to know how you do it. How do you start off your first question when you talk to a prospect on the phone? What's the first question you ask? Is it an open-ended question, a yes or no question, either or question, or a single answer question? And audience, thank you so much for getting involved. Almost everyone has voted now. Jennifer, if you're ready, I'll close this poll and share the results.
Go for it.
All right, let's do it. Audience, you're awesome. Here we go. All right, 37%, and by the way, the majority, I should say, 37% of today's audience said open-ended. 24% said yes or no. 17% said either or. And 22% said that they choose a single answer question to begin their phone conversations. Jennifer, how are we doing with my very smart audience? Is it what you expected? I mean, is there a right or wrong answer to this question?
No, this is more of just kind of seeing what people do. And right or wrong, the whole point of everyone that's on this call here today is to learn, to be able to go back and apply something new and different and start to expect different results. Again, if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results, you know what that makes you. And we don't want to be one of those people. But like when we go back to like this question here at the beginning of the call, like right away, a lot of people here have answered that they use an open-ended question, which I'm not surprised because most dealerships that I go to, that is their process. They'll say, sales, how can I help you? And that question right there is open-ended. Most people answer the phone, how may I assist you? That is open-ended. The thing is that we have to really think about our strategy when we answer that phone call. Where you've got 24%, asking like a yes/no question, or 17 asking either or, a single answer. Those are all questions that can be very, very effective on the phone call because it gives you leadership of the call. When you ask an open-ended question right out of the gate, it allows the customer to ask you for a price. It allows you to ask about availability. And while you might be great enough to overcome those, it's a hard way to sell an appointment when the focus is on an obstacle versus the focus being on how you deliver a professional car buying experience. And I hope you see the difference.
Wait, no, I get it. But if you're in sales and you answer the call, so instead of an open-ended question like, sales, how can I help you? So what would be a great question to start off with? Other than, if we don't have one of those fancy, you heard about our such and such program.
Right.
If we don't have a program like that, so what are you calling about a certain car? Would that be a good question to ask?
Are you calling for a new or pre-owned vehicle? That would be effective because it's guided, it's pointed, it's leading them in a direction that is away from an obstacle.
I got it now. Okay.
Are you calling for sales, parts, or service? It's a single answer response to that. And I like asking people, are you calling for service, parts, or sales, because it puts me in that customer service, perspective versus a salesperson, and then the guard never comes up.
And I totally get that now. I will say this. And everyone knows this, anyone who's ever heard me speak before, I have never worked at a dealership. However, I have been in my fair share of dealerships, and I have bought a lot of cars in my life. And I will say, just one thing could turn me off from a salesperson and turn me off from a sale. And so being in the communication business that I am in currently, this is completely intriguing me, how you have to choose your words carefully, but at the same time you want to make it so relaxed and so easy for the prospect that they have no reason not to buy a car from you. So I'm fascinated by this, and I do believe that there's a psychology to it. So go ahead, keep going, because I'm fascinated.
Just to kind of reinforce this, if I'm making a call to an outbound internet lead, oftentimes my greeting, again, puts me in a role that's more customer service versus salesperson. And let's say that this person came in on a website lead, which is a strong lead source, right? And they came in through your website, and that obviously people feel like they already know your brand, but if you just add a .com to the situation, let me just show you what I mean, then it just changes the whole spectrum, and it puts you in a different position. Now, my first question can be is the car going to be for you? Is that yes or no? That's effective. It's guiding the conversation. So when I call outbound internet leads, if it's from the website, I'll say, hi, is this Ileana? Hey, Ileana, it's Jennifer. I was contacted by abcmotors.com, and they asked me to make sure that you had a professional experience by contacting you immediately. I am the abcmotors.com representative here at ABC Motors, and I understand that you've been doing some research online for a year, make, and model. Is that correct? That's a yes or no. And they say, yes, I am. Well, great. Is the car going to be for you? That's a simple question, right? It's yes or no. You're guiding the conversation now. And if you continue to create questions like this, it changes the whole spectrum of the conversation. What you do and say at the beginning of your call and how you position yourself will determine how well this call unfolds. All right. So let's keep going, right?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so we've got a couple different key things that we talked about here so far. This is, again, we're focusing on communication skills. Now, again, they can't see you. They just are guessing who you are and what you represent, and if they're going to guess your car salesperson, we're going to have a problem. So again, it's not like there's anything wrong with car sales. Well, it's we're trying to get people to let their guard down, to have a more fruitful and productive conversation with us. We want to make sure that we are showcased in a way that is exactly who we are, and we are all about customer service. I mean, that's the dealership life now. It's about providing the exceptional customer service. So again, we have a short amount of time on this phone call. Let's make sure that people see you as the professional that you are, and that they feel confident in you and your abilities. People only know what you tell them. Don't leave them guessing about who you are, and don't leave them guessing about you as the stereotype. Think about this always from the prospect's perspective. What's in it for them? What are they going to get out of talking to you? What are you going to bring to the table that meets their expectations? People hate dealerships. They hate wasting time. They hate getting the runaround. They hate getting there and the car's not there that they were promised. If you highlight these things in your conversation and then you show them how you overcome them or how you do things differently, it puts it into perspective. Who you are and what you bring to the table. More importantly, it shows them that you are somebody that is slightly different than maybe what they had anticipated. So always be thinking about how they're feeling on this phone call. Pay very close attention to what you're saying and how they're reacting. What could they be thinking? And when you ask your questions or you make your statements, you want to always be sure that you're asking yourself these questions, like how are they feeling right now? What could they be thinking? Because you may have to really restate your intentions about any question that you might have asked or any statement that you may have made. They always need to be able to see that you have their best interest in mind. You can't just say that, you have to prove it. So you need to know what to expect, and let them know really what to expect of you, while they're working with you. You've got to tell people what your benefits are at least 3 times during your communications. Whether it's a email or it's a phone call or it's an in-person communication, 3 times you've got to let people know what is in it for them, what your benefits are that you bring to the table. So think of what your benefits are. Personally, I know this. As a consumer myself, I love things that are going to save me time. And that's why I go online. That's why I pay my bills online. That's why I do my research for restaurants online. That's why I use Google Maps when I'm in my car. I mean, it's just, I'm looking for convenience. And your buyer is looking for that as well. So when you state what you actually are there to facilitate, remember it is all about time savings. So think about presenting what actually this person will receive as a benefit from working with you. And I know this is kind of a little awkward in your conversation, but you have to let people, you have to really always focus on making sure that you carve out in the conversation and allow them to know, why you exist. And it's not as someone to sell them a car, but it's to facilitate a more easy and streamlined time savings experience. Know how to switch gears when you need to. If you're focusing on any particular topic for too long, they're going to get burnt out, or they're going to start thinking about what you're saying too much. So I always like to use a strategy where it's kind of like question, question, statement, 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 question. Really think about your patterns, because you don't want to drill them and be this like interrogator and have like 20 questions right out of the gate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be prepared and know where you're going. Make sure that they see you for the person that you are. And oftentimes they can see you for the person that you really are if you just set the expectations and tell them what it's going to be like. You just tell them what your intentions are on the phone today. It's not just sell them a car, it's to make sure that they have a professional visit when they choose to visit your location, and that you will be there to guide them. You will be their single point of contact. Or if there's going to be other people involved, that you tell them who those people are and what their role and what their function is and what's in it for that customer by having that person, having other people involved. Like, for example, I always use an expert appraiser. I use that as a way to set the appointment, to let them know that it's not just my time that's involved, but it's somebody else's time too. And I like to paint the picture to let them know that I'm here to facilitate an experience. So I'll let customers know, for example, if I use, the trade appraiser as the example, I'll say, my role here today is to make sure that everything is in place, that everything is intact for you when you arrive, that you're never waiting around. Vehicle's already pulled out of inventory, it's cleaned, it's gassed, it's ready to go. I even put reserve tags in our windshields to make sure that that vehicle, is reserved for you to look at and view. You mentioned that you were driving a vehicle, an O2 Camry. I want to make sure that I schedule an appraiser to be on site and available to see you. That way you're not waiting around to get a value for your vehicle. So I'll be putting that on the schedule as soon as we get off the phone. I'll be calling this person to make sure that they know that we have a set time so that he is available. Again, you're painting a picture. You're discussing expectations. That's just a small example of the importance of making sure that people see the professional that you are. If you're explaining things that you're going to be doing while you're setting these expectations and showing the prospect what's in it for them, they will feel more confident and more trustworthy towards you. Okay. The next key point here is being a great listener. And while you may be a good listener and the customer may or may not see that, we want to make sure that they do. And there are certain techniques that you can apply to your conversation, even chatting with people, you can implement what we're about to talk about here. So just keep in mind that you are somebody that is not being seen as a real person right now. If you're just behind a phone or you're behind a computer, they might think that you are there to just dish out information. Well, if we're just dishing out information without appointments, we're not going to sell more cars. And remember, no one can see you. They can't see you on a phone call. They can't see you on a voicemail. They can't see you on an email. They can't see you on a text. So if you're focusing on picture painting, always picture painting, then you're helping them understand the story that you're delivering. The story about the person that you are, the professional that you represent. People need to see you as a respectable person. So then they'll feel confident in you. They'll spend more time with you on the phone, and well, you'll be able to give them reasons that compel them to want to converse with you longer. So things that you can implement to be able to achieve this is always tell them what you're doing. Like, for example, if you're pulling up inventory, because you're checking to see what's available for them, and you're maybe not even focusing on one particular car, maybe you're going to show them multiple vehicle options, let them know that you're pulling up and accessing your inventory. Let them know that you're sorting through your new and pre-owned right now. Integrate your 20 questions right now into what you're doing so that they know, even though you're asking them questions, that they know that this is going somewhere in their benefit. If you're searching inventory to let them know what you've got available, that's going to make sense to almost every person that you speak to. At the same time, it buys you time to ask your questions, to give them a reason to feel confident in you, to show them what you bring to the table, to show them what the expectations are when they arrive and while they're communicating with you or while they're working with you. So let them know what you're doing. If you're writing something down, if you're taking notes, if you're logging things into a CRM that you're going to be able to save and record their files so they don't have to repeat themselves, this is how you present yourself as a professional. You're doing these things, tell them you're doing these things. If you are speaking to them and you're getting options about vehicles and packages and colors and things like that, let them know that you heard them. All you do is simply recap that conversation. And while that sounds super simple, we'll often leave these important factors out of our conversations, and it doesn't benefit us. We have a short amount of time to make a solid impression. We want to keep this conversation going. We would ultimately want to have people feeling good about us where they stay connected to us, that they don't pick up the phone and call somebody else. So things that you can do to really highlight and showcase the professional that you are, these are, again, professional actions that create trust and confidence, is to email them a summary of your conversation. Now, how many times have you gotten off a phone call, of an incoming call, and email them right away to thank them for their time, to recap what they told you, to even confirm your appointment? Oftentimes we won't do all of those things. Maybe we'll do one of those things, but it's important that we always email a summary. Even if we have a chat on the phone and we get an email address, I'm sorry, a chat on the phone, a chat on, your live chat. It's emailing them after that, letting them know what you guys chatted about. Recapping is a professional action. If you are calling people back and you're leaving voicemails, you may have spoke to somebody 5 times. Pull some information out of those previous contacts and put them into your future contacts, letting people know that you remember, that you were listening. Again, just these little initiatives, they go a long way. And the little details add up to gross profits. Little details add up to appointments. Little details adds up to sales. You want people to feel good about who you are. You want them to converse with you longer, so you've got to let them know, I'm circling what you're telling me now because I know that you have to have read. I'm underlining the color choices that you just mentioned. I want to make sure that those stand out on the piece of paper that I'm taking notes on. While this sounds very easy to do, you've got to ask yourself, are you implementing these little techniques that make a key difference in how people perceive you? So we're recapping, we're sending an email summary. You might even send a text message that just gives them your name and number. Again, you might just be letting them know that you're documenting away, that you're writing things down, that you're using a highlighter, that you're underlining, you're circling. All of these things paint a picture, and this is very important for phone sales. The key points that we're talking about here today is about just delivering a more effective conversation, whether it's in person or it's on a voicemail or it's an email or it's phone conversations. We just need to pay attention to everything that we're saying and doing. So let's throw out a question real quick.
Let's throw out our last poll question of today. Audience, it's on your screen right now. We would love to know what you think about this question. The question is, after completing a phone conversation, how can you solidify a positive impression of yourself? Please select one of the following answers. Do you shoot an email 30-second video and send that out? Do you send a custom email out to the prospect? Do you send a link to your online reviews? Or do you send a thank you text? I don't think is there any wrong answer here? No, but we want to know what you do and which one you think solidifies a positive impression of you. Once we get a majority of those votes, we'll close the poll and we'll share the results. Yeah, you can only pick one. So pick the one that you think best describes what you believe solidifies a positive impression of yourself. Shooting and emailing a 30-second selfie video, sending a custom email, sending a link to your online reviews, or sending a thank you text. Yeah, I know. People are hearing my feedback or echo. Jennifer, the echo is back.
Okay, well, while you're waiting for that to tally up,
You'll fix it?
I'll be right back.
Okay, audience, thank you so much for getting involved with this. I think Jennifer is going to be quite surprised by the answers that you've given. Okay, I just have to throw this out there. One of our attendees, okay, so some of the attendees have been writing in that they can hear two of me and that there's an echo, and they were complaining. Okay, rightfully so. I think the echo is quite annoying as well. But Andrew wrote in, getting twice as much of you, pure awesomeness. Andrew, that's why you and me, we're on the same page. Thank you. One of my faves there. Thank you so much for that, Andrew. Okay, you know what? I'm going to close this poll and share the results. Jennifer, so nice to have you back. Yes.
All right, yeah. Hopefully, there's no two of you going on right now.
There's only one of me. You can't handle two of me. Andrew's a very smart guy. Somebody wrote in, yep, he is. Okay, let's close this poll and share the results with you. Jennifer, wait till you see this. A landslide. Our attendees today, 73% of today's attendees said that they think to solidify a positive impression of themselves, the best thing for them to do is to send a custom email. 73%.
Wow, that's
awesome. I know. 15% thought it was sending a thank you text did the finest impression. And 12% said that they like to shoot and email a 30-second selfie video. No one actually said that they would send a link to their online reviews. So, Jennifer, is there a right or wrong answer to this?
Well, personally, to have that positive impression of yourself, it's an action that you'll take. So sending a link to online reviews isn't the best one out of all of the options. What I would say is, I always recommend shooting a selfie video, sending a custom email, sending a thank you text. Those would be the top ones that I would suggest. It's an action that you take that's personal, that's custom to the prospect that you spoke to or that you have been working with. Even if it's somebody that came into the dealership and they didn't buy a car, they've left. How are you solidifying a positive impression of yourself? By sending a custom email, I am totally a fan of that. It's custom is the key word here. It's not a template that looks like a template, or that automatically is being sent out of your CRM. when they have a visit. It's something that you send that you can incorporate some of the key information that you've acquired during the conversation or during your chat, whatever. But even sending like, just a quick little 30-second selfie, big fan of that. And one of the reasons why is because nobody takes the time to do that. It takes like, a few minutes to do that, but, at the same time, it's something that is so above and beyond, which is what we have to do now, and it goes in sync with that customer service approach that we talked about, with getting people to not fear you. I mean, we want people to show up for their appointments, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if they told you yes on the phone, you need to solidify the impression of who you are once you end that conversation. So, you placed an outbound internet call to somebody, you've presented yourself, you've let them know what your benefits are, you've acquired all this information from them, you've let them know that you documented it, you let them know you're writing it down, you let them know that you're going to have things ready for them, that you're going to organize people, you're facilitating this great experience, and then you just recap in an email just to make sure that they know your value. That is a very strong thing to do. And it's you may be sending a custom email thanking them for their time, but incorporating everything that we just talked about, that's money. That is different than what other people are doing. It's got to encompass all of those key points that we're talking about here today. Now, a thank you text and your business card or a picture of you that puts a face with a name, that solidifies the impression that you've made, hopefully, on that phone. These are all important aspects to ensure that you put into your process.
That's awesome, Jennifer. And we're getting a lot of comments from that, which we will get to after the program.
Okay, cool. All right, great. Okay, so let's get back into this. We're almost finished here, and I want to make sure that you've got this last key point that you just are focusing on. Again, this is about you just really focusing on your career, focusing on little tiny details that add up to big impressions with people. Approaching this from a customer service standpoint, you heard me say this earlier, this no pressure environment. I gave you some examples already of how you can initiate your phone call and really position yourself as more of a customer service agent versus a salesperson. That is a very, very productive approach. People aren't threatened by customer service reps, you know what I mean? So like when people think you want to do the right thing for them and they don't feel guarded, it gives you the opportunity to explain your benefits, to sell yourself. So guide the conversation, lead with questions so that you can achieve a more positive image. A couple things that you can do, again, is to think about your greeting. How are you opening up your conversations? How are you positioning yourself? Are you saying, hey, and this is Jennifer, I received your internet request from lead source. I just wanted to get back to you and verify the vehicle, the equipment, the color choices. I mean, that's what a lot of people will open up. But if you want to use some of the techniques that you use today to open up your conversation to reduce objections like price and availability and things like that, you can open up your conversation by associating yourself with a lead source. I'm going to throw one out there real quick. I mean, people tend to feel right now, that like TrueCar is someone that is credible. And now while we've had some challenges with that lead source in the past. Right now, they're doing a lot of really heavy marketing that's very effective. I mean, I talk to customers all the time. When I get a TrueCar customer, I'm like, hell yeah. Like at least I know they're bought into that experience. Well, why wouldn't I leverage that lead source? If they have a positive reputation, why wouldn't I leverage myself with them and allow myself to be positioned more customer service? Like, for example, if I say, hey, Eliana, it's Jennifer. I understand you've been on the TrueCar.com website doing some research for a new year, make, and model. I am the TrueCar.com representative for the city market, whatever market that they're in, and my responsibility is to make sure that you have a professional and timely experience with ABC Motors. Now, I'm located at ABC Motors now, and I'm going to search inventory today, let you know what some options are, but I'm also going to take a lot of notes to make sure that I understand clearly what you're open to and not open to. Again, think about how you're presenting yourself and how you can reduce objections and how you can keep yourself in more of a neutral position so that their defense is not up. You've got to show yourself in a more positive way. So think about the car industry and how people perceive that and how you change the way people think about this amazing industry. I've always been in the car industry. I started selling cars when I was 18 years old. The way we do business now is significantly different than that time. And personally, I think it's a very professional industry now. It's not like we can play a lot of games with people. It's just that's not the world we live in, but unfortunately people have a stereotype about this business, and now it's your job to change the way that they think about it. It's your job to position yourself in a way that's more productive. So you can do these things by just thinking about your words, thinking about how you present yourself, and thinking about what you actually do there at the dealership and showcasing it in a way that the customer sees what's in it for them. You want them to feel that they're VIP, you know, that you are a special service, that you're a special individual, that you're somebody that's there and designed to facilitate a great experience. Now, I'm never saying to mislead them, to make them think that you don't work at the dealership or that you aren't going to be helping them. You're showcasing exactly what you are there to do, is to make sure they have a great experience. So you're never wanting to mislead them or lie to anybody, but you do want to make sure that they see you for the person that you actually are. I don't need to say I'm a salesperson. If they point blank ask you that, of course we can, you know, let them know that we're here to make sure that they provide a great, that they receive a great level of customer service, and that you will be the one working with them and responsible for that. It's just about picking and choosing your words wisely. Then we'll have more showed appointments and sales. So again, think of this from a customer service standpoint. So when you're having conversations with people, don't be afraid to let them know, again, that you're facilitating and what that entails, what that involves. And when you do this effectively, you'll have a much longer conversation with people. It'll be much more effective. So a couple of things that you should think about here from our webinar today is, again, be strategic in how you meet their expectations. You know, you want to show them a different car buying experience. You want to make sure that you're guiding the conversation. It's your path to the sale. It's your road that they're on. You're the driver. Stay in the driver's seat by having at least 20 pre-planned questions, so you're never at a loss for things to talk about or ways to guide this conversation. Always present your benefits at least 3 times. What's in it for them? At least 3 times during your conversations. And remember that your actions, they should always prove that you're a professional. When you tell people what you're doing, when you recap, when you send an email after your conversation, when you send a text with your business card or your contact information, or you send them door-to-door directions and you promise to do that. All of these actions, little they may be, will add up to them seeing you as a different level of person that they can do business with, a much higher level, more VIP. All right, so it's time to address those questions and comments.
Yes, it is. Jennifer, I have another echo.
Do you? Oh my goodness, hold on.
Darn it. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. While you're doing that, Jennifer, audience, you are in luck. If you have any questions for this brilliant woman, Jennifer Suzuki, please write it on in. We've already have a lot of questions in the queue and a lot of comments as well. So we're going to get to those in just a minute. And, of course, it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, well, I announced that our good friends at eDealer Solutions, they're giving away some awesome prizes today on the webinar. First, everyone is already a winner. Right, Jennifer?
Yes.
That's right. eDealer Solutions is going to give everyone on this broadcast exclusive access to an online training module that can help you improve your communications with prospects on the phone. It's one of 49 new courses that eDealer Solutions offers in their online series, Selling Cars Through Conversations. And it'll easily help you implement positive changes in your sales process. So if you'd like to experience one complimentary training course from eDealer Solutions, well, it's easy as pie. All you have to do is email Jennifer at jennifer@edealersolution.com with your full name and your email address, and she will hook you up. So take that down, everyone. Jennifer@edealersolution.com. Now, as if that weren't enough, also, one of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a private 30-minute consultation with Jennifer Suzuki herself. That way you get to address exactly what you feel you need help with. It's a great prize for your dealership. You choose how you want to spend your time with her. You could talk about best practices, learning how to hire the best salespeople for your dealership. It could be a training session covering any topic like incoming sales calls, outbound calls, internet leads, handling objections, how to sell yourself, how to get more responses back from emails and voicemails, or even how to set firm appointments. It's 30 minutes of your time privately with Jennifer Suzuki. All you have to do is answer a simple question about today's presentation, and the first one to write in the correct response is going to win this awesome prize. So, now's the time. Get to your keyboards. Get ready. Good luck, everyone. I'm going to ask you a question. First one to write in the correct response wins a 30-minute private training session with Jennifer Suzuki. Good luck, everyone. Here's your question. According to Jennifer, what is the most important thing you need to do when you make phone contact with a prospect? What is the most important thing you need to do when you make phone contact with a prospect? Now, just so you know, Jennifer gave me a 3-word answer. I haven't seen exactly those 3 words, but I have something close. So, Jennifer.
Yes.
I have a lot of answers here. I don't have the exact 3 words that you said. But there are some pretty good answers here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to scroll up real fast. The answer we were looking for was lead with questions. So, I don't have anyone who said that. Is it enough, Jennifer, for somebody to say ask questions or
Yes.
just lead? Is lead
That's
enough or ask questions?
Ooh, it's both of those. It's leading the conversation, and obviously you do that by asking questions.
Okay, so which one of those is more right?
Well, my answer was lead with questions, and so I think it is a matter of who typed it in first, maybe, because they're both correct.
They're both correct. Okay, well, the first one to answer with one of those is Jeremy Jennings. Jeremy Jennings, you are our winner today. Congratulations. You won a great prize today. You get a 30-minute private consultation with Jennifer Suzuki. Congratulations. And Jeremy Jennings, I'm writing down your name. If you could write in and let me know what your dealership is, I would love to give you a proper congratulations. And, oh, he's very excited. Jeremy already wrote in, yes, thank you, and there's a lot of exclamation marks in there. So, Jeremy, where are you from, dude? He's from Monroe Dodge Superstore. Monroe Dodge Superstore. Congratulations, Jeremy Jennings. Oh, and that's in Monroe, MI. MI is Michigan, right? Monroe, Michigan. I hope I got that right. I really have to brush off on my M states. Jeremy Jennings, congratulations. Of course, we want to also thank our friends at eDealer Solutions for their incredible generosity. And thank you, everyone, for playing along. That was so much fun. I love it when I'm the Monty Hall of the webinar. Okay, Jennifer, are you ready to take some amazing questions from our amazing audience?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get to the questions. Audience, if you haven't asked your question yet, well, I just don't know what you're waiting for. It's already past the top of the hour, so we're going to get to some of these right now. Our first question, and I have to say, it was a long set of questions that came in from David. And in the end, David just summed it up for me because David said, do you have a list of some potential questions that Jennifer would be willing to share? Do you recommend going through the same process every time? Should we just have several questions ready? You know, so after all that, after all these wonderful questions from David, he said, I got it. Bottom line, would Jennifer do a short mock call with you, Eliana, to give us an idea or example of how to start it? An inbound call, please. So Jennifer, I thought that was a great idea. So do you think we could do that?
That is such a fantastic idea.
I think so too. Great idea, David. Thank you so much. So let's do this. I will be the inbound caller.
Okay.
Obviously, since I don't know how to do your part, Jennifer.
You'll be the customer?
I'll be the customer. So go ahead. How do we start? Ring, ring.
Thank you so much for holding. This is Jennifer, and who am I speaking with?
My name's Eliana.
Hi, Eliana. Were you calling for the new car department or the pre-owned?
The new car department.
Nice, great. Well, our makes have 12 different models in the lineup. Which one were you doing your research on?
I'm really interested in the Volkswagen EOS.
Nice, that is a nice choice. Are you a current Volkswagen owner?
No, I'm not, but I always see the car on the road and I really like it, and I want a convertible, and it just, I don't know, I've been researching it online, and I think that's the car for me.
You picked like such a great car. It's a sporty car. It's got awesome reviews online. Did you happen to see that Edmunds write-up they did on that particular car?
No, I didn't. Why? It's
Eliana,
good, right?
you have to read it. I'm an educated buyer myself. I love doing research online, but I want to send it to you. Can I send it to you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Give me your email address. Go ahead. I'm going to write it down right now.
Eliana@dealeron.com.
I'm going to send it to you as soon as we get off the conversation today. So I'm just curious, what are you driving now?
Oh, right now I'm driving a 1993 Saab convertible.
Say what?
Well, I know. I've had it a while, and it's time
Girl,
to let it
it's
go.
time to get a new car.
It has served me well. And as you can see, I love convertibles, so I have to stick with what I know.
Well, yes, I'm going to agree. It's time for a new vehicle. Well, I'm just curious. Did you get a chance to see the EOS? Did you see it online, or did you see that in person?
Well, like I said, I've seen it on the road, and I really like the way it looks. No, I haven't test driven it or anything.
Okay. So it's really important that you get a chance to like experience it. You know, it's something that I do for all of our customers, and I only work with our online customers like yourself. You know, you've done some research online, you've seen it out there, but you haven't got a chance to really experience it. I'll put together a whole information packet for you. So when you arrive, I'll spend about 10-15 minutes making sure that I have that all together for you. And again, like I said, when we get off the phone, I'll email you some really cool information too. And so I'm assuming, is the car going to be for you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. So let me pull up our online inventory here, and let me make sure I've got some availability for you, and that way I can share some of that information with you. And while I'm just waiting for my new car inventory to load here, real quick, Eliana, again, my name is Jennifer Suzuki. I actually work with a lot of our online customers, and my role and responsibility here is to make sure that you have a professional and a timely experience. So just keep this in mind, that anytime that you visit, whether it's to get a value for your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe you want to take a test drive, or maybe you're even ready to buy. Every time you come in, I'll be working with you, and my job is to make sure everything is prepared in advance for you. That way you're never waiting around. And right now, I've got all of my EOSs up here, and it looks like I'm showing 27 available right now. Let me just click on here, and let's see what we got. So tell me, like when you were doing your research online, Eliana, did you see that there were 4 different trim levels on this vehicle?
I did, and, you know, money's tight, so money's going to, you know, be an option on which one I can go with. But really, I'm really interested in just making sure I get the color I want, because I just love the white with the black interior, and I was wondering if you even had one of those on your lot.
Okay, let me just pause and tell you that's my color combination on my current car. I also love that combination. Okay, so you know, I don't know if we need to keep going on and on here. I think that what I discussed here on the phone, I've covered so far. Again, it's guiding the conversation. It's making sure that it's in a relevant environment to this person. I'm keeping the conversation on my road. I'm staying in the driver's seat. I'm getting an opportunity to present my professionalism. I've made a promise already that I can deliver on, which is promising those vehicle reviews. I'm looking for common ground, but I'm also showing them a professional experience because I told her what I do here at the dealership. And I'm switching gears quickly because I know where I'm going in this conversation, so I hope that that answered the question.
Yeah, David actually wrote back and he said, that was great. And Frank wrote in, he said, she got the email address out of you within a minute. Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's what we do.
Word. Okay, and David also wrote in again, he said, she was very good at making it sound like a consultant as opposed to a salesman. Bravo, Jennifer.
Listen, I love this guy because he's getting it. He's listening. He's looking for the key points that we talked about here today. It's about a relaxed and friendly and fun environment, but it's strategic.
Now, this is coming from me. Do you think you had an advantage because you are a woman and I'm a woman? Or do you think that a man can do it as effortlessly as you just did it?
Okay, well, first of all, like if you look at the content that I just covered, anyone can deliver this content. That's what I do for a living, and I'd say like 99% of my audience are dudes. Okay, now the way that I delivered it was my personality. Okay, and this is important. The way that I delivered the content was my personality. I mean, I don't expect you to be a cheerleader like me. I don't expect you to be laughing like I do. That's just who I am. It's what I do, and I'm going to be me on the phone. That's why I'm going to find success. But my conversation, the actual verbiage, the text, the word tracks that I'm using, they're all written down, and I'm following it. And anyone can follow it.
Okay. Well, there you have it, everyone. If you have some follow-up questions about that, I loved being involved in the presentation, by the way. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Come on right back on in.
I give you an A+.
I give you an A++. Okay. Let's see. This next question comes from Frank, and he says he's even thinking about changing all of his conversion directors on his websites because of this presentation. So Frank says instead of what he already has, he's going to ask like an and or question. So like if you have questions, ask one of our customer relationship specialists at blah, 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 blah phone call, or fill out the form to the right or something like that. That way, he says, something to make a potential customer feel more at ease that they're going to talk to someone who's going to give them help instead of someone who's going to try and sell them something like a car or an appointment. Comments?
Ding, 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 ding. Do I need to say more? That was awesome.
I don't think so. Frank, thank you so much for that. That was awesome. Okay, let's get to James. James wrote in that he loves the selfie idea, the video. Remember when we asked the poll question?
Right.
We asked, would you want to do a selfie video and send it in an email? His concern is, don't they usually not make it through a spam blocker? He heard that over 70% get blocked or bounced. What do you think?
Okay, that's probably true. But what I didn't say, and I'm glad that you addressed it, is that you really have to have your YouTube account easily accessed. Like for me, it's on my phone. It's just really easy for me to upload it to YouTube and then set it to private and send that link to the customer. And it's the safest way, most effective way. Once you get the strategy down and you're uploading it right from your phone, I mean, it's a lot easier to do it that way. And you can text the link too.
That's true. That's true. Okay, great question, James. Thank you so much for pointing that out. And Dee wrote in, hold on, I want to make sure I have everything. Many customers have more than one email and check them only intermittently throughout the day. This means once the customer engages via their mobile device, you have probability in your favor for garnering the most immediate responses by keeping them engaged via mobile. He goes on to say, I love Jennifer, by the way. She has a great reputation throughout the industry. Dee also wanted to know, if somebody is on the phone, shouldn't you respond by phone? If somebody emails you, shouldn't you respond by email? If somebody's Facebooking you, shouldn't you respond by Facebook? Are you worried about losing the customer if you switch to a different communication style?
Yeah, well, phone calls sell cars, and I can't even make it any more simpler. You have to get people onto the phone because that gives you an opportunity to showcase what we talked about here today. I mean, you can deliver a lot of the things that we talked about in an email, in a text, in a voicemail, but the way that you're going to get the most results is by talking to people. And yes, you can, if they Facebooked you, like Facebook them back and engage them in a conversation that ultimately gets them off of there and onto the phone. Like, you need to know your goal. And the same thing applies to an email or a chat.
Gotcha. Dee, I love your comments. If you have anything else to add, please don't hesitate to write on in. By the way, our winner, Jeremy Jennings, wrote in a question. Apparently, he's new to sales. He writes in, Jennifer, I am brand new to sales. Do you have any basic information or advice for me to digest to help me? Well, guess what? He just won the 30-minute private consultation. So, Jeremy, you're going to get 30 minutes worth of Jennifer. But maybe a resource. Jennifer, do you have any other great resources, maybe a book that would really help a salesperson or anything like that?
I think there's a lot of like different blogs that I always recommend. Like going on Dealer Refresh, sites like that are really, I think, effective for salespeople when you're looking for community. People that are in your situation, that have gone through your experiences, people that are dealing with the same issues that you are. It gives you an opportunity to see what other people are doing and to put posts out there and get feedback from other salespeople. But, I like Driving Sales and Dealer Refresh and ADM. I mean, those are sites that I recommend for salespeople to utilize all the time.
Fantastic. Jeremy, congratulations once again on your win. I'm sure you're going to get a ton out of it. Let's see. Frank wrote back in. Frank says, do you think you have to deliver the content based on the customer on the phone? If you're too chirpy or bubbly to someone who is very stiff, are you going to turn them off? Or screw it, should you just be yourself? What do you think?
That's a real debatable topic, isn't it? I can only give you my feedback and based on my experience. And I do, I'm in stores every single week. You need to be yourself, because when you're yourself, you're most comfortable, and you're going to have a much more productive conversation, because when you're comfortable, then you're able to deliver the questions that you've strategically designed. You're able to deliver the conversation that you've strategically already kind of thought through and put together. So I think to some degree you have to mirror your customer, but I think as a generality, be yourself. That's going to be, you're going to get the best results. So maybe you turn somebody off that's like on the straight and narrow and you're like a little more energetic. I mean, what's a few versus the mass, the majority. People want to deal with people that know what they're talking about, that can make this fun and enjoyable for them, because fun and enjoyable is not associated with a car buying experience.
Well, you got that right.
Your goal is to change the way they think about it. So, I mean, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Well, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. I think if somebody calls and they're a stick in the mud, guess what? They're a stick in the mud because they're doing research and they're trying to buy a car, and it's not enjoyable. For most people, it's not enjoyable. It's not like for us women buying a pair of shoes, like I've said before. Buying a pair of shoes, now that's enjoyable. But buying a car, oh, it's so tedious, and you're afraid to make the wrong decision. And you want to feel like you got a good deal. You want to enjoy the experience. So if somebody's going to call, they're not going to be in a good mood. They just want the facts, because they figure if they stick to the facts, they'll get the answers that they need. What's wrong with being nice and chirpy and bubbly?
Exactly. Exactly.
What's the worst that could happen? They're going to also be chirpy and bubbly in response?
Right. Exactly.
I don't know if greeting somebody who's a stick in the mud as a stick in the mud yourself is really going to help your cause. That's my point. Yeah. Okay. Dee wrote back in and said, Dee wants to reiterate the importance of using mobile mode of communication. Reaching a customer via a phone call when they are at work is not probable, but a text might just be perfect, especially if that mode of communication has been established already. So my question to you, Jen, is do you have like a word track on how you can get some, like how you stole my email address from me within a minute?
Right.
You have a word track that might also get somebody to cough up whether or not they'd be amenable to text. Because I'll tell you honestly, I'm a texter. Some people are just natural texters. I don't mind text. I don't mind phone calls either, or email. But my mother-in-law, who I love dearly, guess what? She's not a texter. She doesn't know anything about email. She is strictly a phone call kind of person. Okay?
Right.
So if it were for her, text and email, not really an option. So we're two completely different kind of shoppers. I'm an eBay junkie. She doesn't even know how to turn on the computer. Okay, so what kind of a word track do you have that might help people establish what kind of communication they really would prefer?
Okay, so it's just a matter of asking people. If you're like, usually I'll ask people if it's okay to text them during my conversation and during appointment setting. Even whether they set the appointment with me or they don't, they're going to be setting some type of appointment with me, whether it's a call, whether it's an appointment or it's for me to call them back to set an appointment. One of those two things is going to happen at the end of all of my phone calls. So during that time that I'm setting either a follow-up phone call to set the appointment or to actually set the appointment, I'm going to ask people, hey, the number that you called in on, 555-1212, is that your cell number? And they're going to be like, yes, most of the time. Like, okay, great. I've got that documented, and I want to give you my cell number as well. Or I want to give you my direct line as well. So now I'm serving up my contact information. Now I'm going to turn it back on them. It's kind of like they've given me something, I've taken something, keeping it fair and square. It's just psychology more than anything. But, it gives me more likelihood of getting a yes, it's okay to text when I follow this strategy. And then I turn around and say, okay, you've got my information. I want you to know it's okay for you to text me. Maybe I tell them my hours or whatever, and I'll email you that information as well. Is it okay for me to text you? So I'm not like point blank like, hey, can I text you? I have like a whole 3 other key points that happen before I throw that down.
Go ahead.
No.
No?
You first.
I was going to say, because my mother-in-law, God bless her, she has a cell phone. She uses it quite often. She does not text. She doesn't know how to text, and she doesn't pay for text. So even if she gets a text, she wouldn't even know how to open it. And she doesn't pay for them, so if she gets a text, she gets charged for the text.
Right.
And so that actually irritates her. So
okay. Yeah, so again, you have to be professional and courteous, and you have to ask people for that. Oftentimes people will ask me like, oh, do you think that, if somebody doesn't respond back to me, via email or phone or whatever, they've sent in a lead, or if it was an incoming call, and they don't get back to me, should I just try and text them, It would be unprofessional of me and irresponsible of me to say, like, yes, that's what your protocol should be, because technically if it's unsolicited, it's, could not be, the legal thing to do. But, personally, texts generally get a quicker response, but again, I have to, like, I'm being an instructor here, so I need to play the rules, and you just need to, ask people if it's okay. That's the first thing.
Right. Now, Dee agrees with you that a phone call to make sure that they're en route in a few moments before the appointment time is excellent. Dee loves that idea. But Dee also agrees with you that you should let the customer dictate to you their most comfortable communication method. And
right.
I have to agree with that as well. Jennifer, since we're talking about communication, is there anything else you'd like to communicate to our audience before I close out this webinar, my love?
Well, I just checked my email, and I see like a lot of people had emailed me about getting the complimentary training course.
Oh, excellent.
So like, yeah, that's my recommendation. It's like, hey, like, I love things that are complimentary, so like, you should take advantage of that, and email me your contact information so I can set you up as a user and allow you to view, a course that will help you with even more better communications.
I love that, and I can't believe it. So there's 49 modules, and they're going to get access to one, and if they like it, they can talk to you about maybe getting access to some more. Is that right?
Exactly. I'm gonna show you the very first one. Yes.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. 49 modules. That's a lot.
I know, and it's all about communicating. And The other thing that they should know is that there's a download for every one of the modules. So when you get your first complimentary one, there's a salesperson download. It's kind of like a build your own training manual, but it will help you with the information to be able to actually execute it.
That's awesome. And then you also have ones that are strictly for managers as well, is that right?
I do, yeah. So like there's manager downloads, with meetings and role plays and really ways to help the salespeople execute the change of whatever content is in that module. And so yeah, it's not just for salespeople, it's for managers too.
Fantastic. Jennifer, this has been an amazing presentation. You never have ever disappointed me. Thank you so much. We got so many great comments. And audience, you know what? If you liked what you heard today from Jennifer, I encourage you, please, to also take a moment to fill out the short survey that you're going to get in just a moment. And, in that, it's like 6 questions, literally. I think you have time for it. But in there, it's going to ask you to rate Jennifer's performance and also give us any other feedback that you have about today's presentation. I'd love to see what you thought about it because I thought it was fantastic. So also, when you fill that out, guess what? We're going to choose 2 people at random from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So you don't want to miss out on yet another chance to win something cool. I really hope you'll fill out that survey. Also want to let you know, Dealeron's going to be at the upcoming Digital Dealer 16 in Atlantic City, May 6th through the 8th. Hey, you got to stop by our booth. It's booth number 623. Please take the opportunity to check out our new responsive website platform, Chameleon. You'll see what the future of dealer websites will look like. You'll learn why Google recommends that your dealership's website will be built on a responsive platform, and you can check out the sexiest darn dealer websites you have ever seen. So if you're going to be at the Digital Dealer next month, make sure you stop by booth 623. I'm going to be there. I want to meet you. Come by, stop, say hi, and check out the future of dealership websites. And by the way, while you're there, we got not 1, not 2, but 5 amazing Dealer On people that are going to be speaking at the Digital Dealer Convention. So you got to check out at least one of my dudes, right? Check out one of them at least, but we got 5 of them for you. And you don't want to miss it. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, guess what? Dealer On's here to help with that too. We got an exclusive discount code. It'll still honor the early bird price. So just use that discount code on your screen, DD16MD9, when you register, and you will get yourself a discount to go to one of the hottest conventions of the year. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next webinar, and boy, oh boy, it's a doozy. Why your dealership's next website must be responsive. It's with none other than the president, CEO, and co-founder of DealerOn, Ali Amirazvani, or as I like to call him, the head cheese over here at DealerOn. News alert. Google has officially endorsed responsive website design as the standard for handling mobile and desktop traffic because it's better for SEO, it improves customer experience and conversion, and it makes your site easier for Google to crawl and correctly index. However, there's a lot of confusion in the automotive space about what responsive design is and why it's superior to adaptive, seamless, and mobile sites. So hey, join us next Wednesday, special day. I want you to mark it on your calendar. Wednesday, not Thursday, Wednesday, April 30th, for an educational webinar about mobile websites, responsive design versus adaptive, seamless, or mobile websites, and why Google has recognized responsive design as the future of website design going forward. This may very well be the most important hour you invest this year when it comes to your online traffic, so don't miss it. It's going to be another fabulous presentation by your friends at DealerOn. Like I said, this next webinar will be on Wednesday, not Thursday. So don't forget that. Please put it in your calendar. It'll be at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, or 9 a.m. Pacific. We've got some amazing webinar subjects planned for this year. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, hey, contact me directly. Again, my name is Eliana. I love hearing from you. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, every automotive social network that's out there, so track me down online or email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Thank you all so very much. And Jennifer, you were awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.